Our taste in film may seem destructive, but this is a productive dialogue. Damn it, your mother ate my dog.
I just like doing that. Episode 96, Your Mother Ate My Dog, the podcast. I don't think I could, for the longest time, I didn't believe in myself, in my ability to snap. But as I've grown older, my bones have become stronger with my milk consumption. It's Snap City for me.
Right. Snap City, USA. I mean, it sounds like you've mastered it. So that's
Can you
quite
snap?
the revelation in your life. Yes.
Could have been anybody. A few postcards this week. I don't know, like Germany, France, the normal ones, and then you get the silly ones where they send it from like Victoria. But I did deliver a package from Brazil today, which is fun.
Oh, I do like that.
I got stung by a wasp yesterday.
Oh no! Did you disturb it?
First time. Well, there was a wasp nest that I didn't see on a bank of mailboxes, and I opened the mailboxes unknowingly, and yeah, it was wild, trying to swat them away. It didn't work. Do you remember the last time you were stung by a wasp?
Oh, I just like that you were stung by a wild wasp as opposed to like those domesticated ones that you hear all about. So I think next time, if you're going to have to sort of interact with the wasp, I would wait for a domesticated one. And that way you'll probably be a little bit safer. I think the last time I was stung by a wasp was probably like in middle school. I remember getting stung once, but since then it hasn't happened.
Yeah, not really feeling the humor in it. I'm still a little itchy, and it's still a little red. So I appreciate it, but no thank you.
Okay, no jokes. I understand. It's a sensitive time for you, and I'm sorry I tried to make light of the situation. You're still a little, it's fresh on the mind.
Yeah. So you're caught up with me. Anything new with you?
Well, no wasp interactions, if that's what you're wondering. Besides that, I don't really think so. Still buying my lunch, every day at the grocery store. So there's that. No, beyond that, it's just same old thing, same old routine.
We need to get you a hobby so you can talk about it.
Well, I guess, I've gone paddling a lot recently. On Monday, I guess some of the less experienced paddlers in our club want to learn how to steer a little better than they do, which is basically just sit in the last seat of the canoe and you steer the canoe from the back. And so one of the paddlers at the club sort of put on a steering, not really a clinic, but like this is an opportunity for some of the paddlers to learn. And Mackenzie and I were basically the two experienced sterns. So we basically coached people on steering. That went pretty well. Probably do it again next Monday. So yeah, I guess that's a new thing. But I don't think it's tremendously interesting.
Okay, yeah, your words, not mine. That's cool. Where you're sitting right now, is there a window?
Yes. Can you hear cars driving by?
No.
You want me to look out the window?
What do you see anything exciting?
I can see the buildings next door quite easily. There are always, they're not tonight, but there's always in the summer like children who run around the buildings. I don't know what you would call these buildings. It's not quite an apartment. It's like, it's like an apartment building, but you can access all the doors from the outside. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, it's like
I don't know what you call that, but it's one of them.
It'd be like a refurbished hotel or a motel or whatever. Is it a hotel?
Sure, kind of like that. And I guess all the kids, they get together and they get up to shenanigans. And usually they're kind of near our porch and we can hear them all day. It's not very fun, but they're not there right now. So I just see trees and buildings.
Okay. How are you keeping cool in this heat wave?
Well, in the summer months, our suite doesn't get a ton of direct sunlight, and we also have a bunch of these privacy curtain things that you can draw, keep the sun out. So it tends to stay fairly cool in here. I mean, we are getting an air conditioning unit for the really hot days, just to help keep the cats cool and ourselves. But most of the time, it's not really that unbearable. Sleeping is pretty comfortable. So yeah, it's no problem.
Do you think it's going to get any hotter than this? Is this not the peak hotness of the summer?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the last couple of days got up to almost 30. That's usually our max, but we did have that heat dome that one time. So, but even I guess in the 30s, it was pretty dang hot in here, I guess. But I've been in hotter places, I suppose. It's fine. But it's just nice to have the AC unit, so you don't have to be oh yeah, it's somewhat comfortable in here. You can just be yeah, it's perfectly comfortable in here.
Okay, great.
Had I not bought my lunches every day, I'd probably would have been able to afford one a lot earlier. But you know how it is.
Right. That's what I was telling you last week. That's last week though. This is this week. You do whatever you want.
Oh yeah. Okay.
This week, it was your movie.
Yes.
You picked it.
Did.
Could you explain to the listeners, maybe a brief plot of the film?
Oh, I'd be happy to. This movie doesn't really have a plot, I would say. I would say there isn't a plot at all. It's just kind of strange people from Ohio just sort of doing things. Weird things. That's how I would describe the plot. Do you think that's pretty accurate, or?
Yeah. The movie is Gummo. You picked it because you have it on VHS. How was the VHS watching experience on your tiny television?
It was fine. Yes, a little bit nostalgic, I suppose. That's how we used to watch movies, on the old VHS tape. This movie was definitely subtitles probably would have helped.
Yeah, I had subtitles.
So I don't know if it's just the fact that I'm watching on a VHS and it's not the easiest format. It's not the highest quality of formats, So I found it hard to understand what people were saying at times. But hey, I said I would watch on a VHS, so I did. Were you able to find a decent copy online?
Yes, I found a decent VHS that had subtitles, which was nice. The VHS version, probably the way to watch this film. Feels like it was a VHS movie.
100%.
Maybe one that
I know what you mean.
That your weird, the weird guy at school, filmed in his backyard, and then he just gave you a copy.
Well, there definitely was a lot of clearly shot on a camcorder scenes that weren't really part of the main story, and it seemed to be of real people. And then there was the actual film that wasn't it was kind of a weird mix.
Yeah, there were only a few actors. The rest were just people that the director he just found outside and were like, "Hey, you want to be in my movie?"
Right.
So that was interesting.
I find myself was just gonna say, I find myself like when I watch new movies now on the podcast, I try to think of like what's the movie we've already watched that's the most like this one. And if I were to do that and forced to, because it's not really like any of the movies we've seen, I would say it's like Eagle vs. Shark if the people were like crazier and there was less plot. Because I guess Eagle vs. Shark had a lot of like, sort of strange people. That like people who aren't like, would never exist in real life. But I guess there was real people who do exist in real life in this movie, so maybe that's not true. I don't know. It was a stretch, but there was nothing else really like this, so.
The motion picture rating for this film, it was rated R.
Mm-hmm.
But the description of why it was rated R was because it had a pervasive depiction of antisocial behavior of juveniles, including violence, substance abuse, sexuality, and language. Nowhere
Right.
does it say anything about how many cats will be murdered in the film.
Right. Yeah, I mean, had I known that, I might not have picked this one. There was a lot of cat hate, if you will.
Well, last week I told you I skipped ahead 4.5 minutes into the film, and it was somebody drowning a cat.
Cat in a barrel full of water. Yeah, so that might have been a sign.
I mean, I guess one of the plots was, these two kids having to kill cats to sell them to a grocery store. And then there's a third person who's also killing cats to sell.
Yeah. By two means. One was mixing glass with tuna, and the other one was just drizzling poison around dumpsters.
Yeah, and they just shot a cat in the rain over and over again. I thought that was cool. And then the film ended with a kid in a bunny hat, bunny ears, bringing the dead cat to us. So that was cool.
Yes, that was good to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is a very strange film.
Yeah. Yeah, it had, if I had to compare it to a film that we've seen, it would probably be Tetsuo, the Iron Man, only in the, what did we just watch kind of way.
Right.
So, yeah, it was I don't know if it'd be even called a film. I watched back in 1997 when it came out. There were these two, I guess, TV film reviewers, just like random guys. No Roger and Ebert, or his name is Roger Ebert, whatever the two guys were. They reviewed the film, and the man, an older bald man, gave it 4 to 5 stars. And then the woman, who was like, I don't know what I just watched. I don't think I liked it. Still gave it 3 out of 5.
Right.
So, yeah. Cult classic? I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I could see how you could be compelled to give it a high score, maybe just for it being fairly shocking and maybe something unlike anything you've seen. So, I mean, you could give it points for that, I suppose. And I'm pretty sure Siskel and Ebert are who you're thinking of.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, it certainly was unlike anything I've experienced.
It wasn't good, but it does have like a lasting effect on you.
True. That is very true. I think the director was in the movie a little bit. He was like on the couch, for like, it was like a 2-minute scene or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure that was him. But he was quite young when he made this film. He was like 24 or something when he made this. And I feel like it kind of shows. It's kind of like it's very, that's what I'm looking for. It's very like juvenile, perhaps.
Yeah.
Like it almost
Uh,
felt like it was trying to be like high art, but didn't really get there. Just ended up just being weird.
Yeah. Weird. A young Chloe Savigny.
Yes.
Chloe. Let me see if I can find a way to say her name.
I'm pretty sure it was Savini, but what do I know?
Oh, yeah, Savini.
Yeah. Yeah, she
She
was
was a
in it.
mess, kissing people and
Kissing people and sort of duct tape on her nipples.
yeah, getting a ride from an old man.
Perverted old man.
Yeah, they were just scenes in in a film. It wasn't really like a film,
Mm-hmm.
just scenes.
It's just
Which was
scenes of weird people doing weird things. I think just for the sake of it being weird. I think was pretty much it.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Apparently, it was a comedy drama.
Yeah, comedy drama. And I don't have the tape near me anymore, but one of like the reviews on the VHS tape was like perversely funny or something like that. But I was like, I didn't really laugh. I don't think a single time. I can't even really think of a scene that I liked particularly. I was trying to think of like, sometimes there's these weird movies and some scenes like really stand out. It's like, actually, no, I kind of liked that, but I can't really think of a particular one in this. Really?
The two brothers hitting each other.
Oh, yeah, shit. Okay, yeah, I forgot about that scene where they were just legitimately punching each other, like in the head.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I did like audibly go like, holy shit, like they're actually just punching each other for real. So that was something. And then one of the guys, he's like, they were punching, and then one of the guys just kept looking at the camera.
Yeah.
And I noticed that.
Not trained actors.
No, certainly not. So yeah, that was a standout scene, I suppose. I don't think I've ever seen that in a movie where you can just, you could definitely tell that they're really doing it.
They had like decent music in the film, which I was surprised at.
I did like the music, actually. That crying song is my favorite Roy Orbison song. I love that song.
Well, there you go.
But yes, there was some good music.
The film explores a broad range of issues, including drug abuse, violence, homicide, vandalism, mental illness, poverty, profanity, homophobia, sexual abuse, sexism, racism, suicide, grief, prostitution, and animal cruelty. There you go.
It touches a lot of bases. I'll give it that.
This film lost a lot of money.
Lost a lot of money. What the hell was the budget?
$1.3 million.
Goodness. For what? Just to pay the actors or something, I guess.
I doubt it.
Yeah, that's odd. Did this even see theaters, or did it go like straight to VHS?
I think it had a little bit of a theater run.
Okay. Like, I will say, like, if you tried to buy this movie on VHS for like, so as a way to compare, if I were to pick a random like horror movie or something like The Thing, something like that, and I were to try to find it on VHS, that would probably cost me like $5 maybe. This is online purchasing, but this Gummo on VHS is like $150 tape. It's like really sought after. I don't really understand why. I think VHS collectors are probably just like strange movies. I mean, I have a collection of VHS tapes, and I tend to like strange movies. But I just like strange movies that are actually kind of good. So I don't really know if this one really qualifies.
Well, it's probably because they didn't make a whole lot of them. It's pretty rare.
Yeah, I guess it could just be rare. But then you look it up, and I mean, there's plenty of copies for sale. So I don't think it's like that rare.
How did you get it?
I got it on Facebook Marketplace because I
For
saw
how
somebody
much?
selling $10.
Hmm.
I saw somebody selling it for way less than what I knew it went for. So I bought it because I had always been curious about that movie. I can't remember how I've heard of this movie. I know I've seen it on lists like earlier in our podcasting venture. I would like Google like strange movies, and this was like always on the list. So that maybe that put it on my radar.
And they can sell it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to. I'm no interest in keeping this movie, but I can say I've seen it.
Does the case have, like, is the cover the side of his head, or is it him
Yeah.
looking?
It's the side of his head with his funky hairdo.
I mean, he was probably my favorite character.
Yeah, I would say he was the most well-rounded and perhaps like easiest. He seemed like the most normal. Well, actually, no, maybe not really. I guess Chloe
yeah.
Savini's character, like the girls, they seemed like they're fairly normal.
Yeah, or just like him eating in the tub.
Yeah, that scene was a little gross.
Yeah, a lot of grossness, a lot of weird. But we did it. We watched it, and we're better for it.
That scene wasn't even that gross to begin with until he like dropped the chocolate bar in the water and then just ate it anyway. That was not the best. Because I mean, I like
scripted.
Yeah, it didn't look scripted. I know, like, one movie that I really love, Dead Alive, the namesake of our podcast, is, that movie's really gross. But it's so, like, outlandish and, like, funny and over the top that it kind of works, and I like it. But in this one, it just felt like it was too real. It was just gross.
Yeah, a lot of stuff we haven't even talked about and probably won't talk about. Just like, where do you come up with this stuff?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of stuff like that. I think maybe a lot of it is I mean, if someone was like, I'm looking for a strange movie to watch, this would definitely be one I would recommend. But I mean, I don't think I would recommend it for any other reason. I'd probably also warn them, like, listen, it's not particularly good, but it's weird.
Okay, so your mom comes to you and is like, hey, I'm looking for like a weird movie. What can I watch? You would suggest Gummo to her?
Well, I know my mom would not want to watch this type of movie. But if I knew somebody who they themselves were a bit of an odd character, like I'm looking for a kind of I like weird movies, sort of like far out, out of left field sort of thing. This is what I would recommend to them.
Would you ever recommend Tetsuo?
Yes, 100%. I've already recommended it to multiple people. I know one person that watched it. Some lady at my work watched it, and she loved it.
Would you recommend? For one, would you recommend Gummo to her?
No.
Okay, and two, would you recommend the podcast?
I've mentioned it, but I don't really think she didn't seem that into it. Just fine, fair enough. I don't try to force it on anyone.
You have to start trying.
Okay.
You should be like Spotify.com/Your Mother Ate My Dog the podcast.
Right.
Or whatever. I don't know if that goes anywhere, but
I don't think that's how that works, but
all right. That's fine. Okay. Who's your least favorite character?
My least favorite character. gosh. The least favorite character. This is also a movie, like, I literally just finished watching this. I don't really remember anything that happens. I remember, like, some of it, and then some of it I'm like, there's probably, I guess there's just so many scenes that it's hard to keep track of them all. I guess maybe my least favorite character was the guy who was wearing the bunny ears. It's more just kind of annoying than anything else.
All right, not to do like pimping out the girl.
Well, I mean, that was, I guess if we're counting that as a character, I mean, he was in it for like a minute.
Not the dude in the car, little man trying to feel up some little girls.
Right.
Just a guy,
I mean,
just a kid in a bunny hat. That was annoying.
If you put it that way, I was trying to pick a character that was actually like maybe a reoccurring character. It was like in it for more than one scene.
Right, but
yes, those were obviously I didn't like those guys. The guy who was like pinching his nipple the whole time and peeping through the top of the door. Yeah, no, I didn't like that guy.
Well, it's good to hear.
Yes. Yep.
What about the grocery store manager or whatever who was buying dead cats from children?
I liked that guy. That guy was good.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think score's going to be a little weird tonight.
Yeah. I think so. Let's do it though. Let's get it over with. I'm done with this one.
Okay. Well, on the topic of acting, give me what you thought.
Okay. It's definitely a movie that's hard to give an acting score on. But, I mean, there are scenes that are acted, so I guess I have no choice. The acting. I mean, they're supposed to be weird. I mean, they're all pretty weird. So there's that. Some actors clearly little to no experience. Sorry, my cat is having issues over there. Yeah, overall, it's just a hard movie to give a score for acting. Maybe like a 4.
Okay. That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. And well, I don't know if you touched on this, but I think it's a little difficult to kind of give an acting score.
Right.
Because like you don't know who's acting and really who's just being themselves. So we know, I mean, who knows if Chloe Savini, that's just how she is. Or,
right.
What is his name? Jacob Reynolds, who played Solomon. Solomon? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was, fine, weird. I'll give it a 5. Give it a 5.
Okay.
It'll be my high score of the night, but 5
right.
out of 10.
Right.
Ending. So ending also kind of difficult with this one because no plot, just scenes piled on top of each other, having kind of the same characters, sometimes new characters. I'm gonna give ending a 0.5 on this one.
Oh.
Yeah, so a lot of cat death, obviously. It's raining and they're just firing rounds at this fake dead cat. And then the bunny boy runs at us holding this cat. It's like, okay, great, thank you. And then we have no eyebrow girl singing in bed. And that's the end. Jesus Loves Me. Did not love the film. 0.5 out of 10 for ending.
That's got to be your lowest ending score you've ever given, if I were to guess. Yeah, it was kind of like you want an end in there to sort of wrap it all up and sort of... Yeah, it didn't really do that. It was just kind of like another scene and felt like any of the scenes could have been the ending scene, really. And so, I mean, that makes for a pretty unsatisfying ending, I would say. So yeah, I was just kind of with the rest of the film. I'd give it like a 2. Maybe not a 0.5, but I think a 2.
Okay, well, for the film, all 89 minutes of it, what would you give it out of 10?
So, out of 10, I think I'd give this movie a 3. It was strange, but not in a good way, really. I wouldn't say completely unwatchable. I was at least sort of curious where the film could possibly go next. So there's that. I'd give it a 3. I'm sorry.
Okay. 3 out of 10 for Gummo. The thing about Gummo, and something that I appreciate, is that this isn't a film. Well, I guess for you, you've already said you've forgotten a lot of stuff that happened, but it is a film that will stick with me for quite some time. Just like the images, some images, lasting. We'll be talking about it for years. Just a lot of dead cats and a lot of pools and dirty bathwater and other stuff. So I mean, for that, it gets a point. Acting wasn't like the worst, even in this kind of film. Ending was garbage, if you can call it that. The vibe was sad and weird, perverse. I'll give Gummo a 2.5 out of 10.
Okay.
It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah. I think a lot of our poor scores also is, well, for me anyway, I thought I had a bit higher expectations. And so I guess that is a problem to have when you go into films. You shouldn't go in with any expectations. But it's like, this is supposed to be weird and a cult film, so it must be to some extent good. But yeah.
Well, we used to have an expectation score. So
right. This would be as good as, yeah, I think so.
This is the second time this year that you gave a movie a 3 out of 10, your lowest score. Do you remember what movie you gave a 3 to? Episode 79.
Episode 79.
18 movies ago.
A movie I gave a 3 to. No, I don't think I could tell you.
Idiocracy.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think my brain ever would have gotten back to that movie. Definitely long since forgotten. But, well, I mean, forgotten that I watched it. I mean, I can remember the movie. Yeah, that's a bad movie. It was about the same. Yeah, that's perfect. I can at least say that my scoring is at least, accurate when I hear it back. I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely a 3 movie right there.
Okay, well, that's over. Well, now we have a decision to make.
Okay.
So for the next film, I had one ready to go. Then as I'm reading the Wikipedia for it, I noticed that it is a sequel to a movie that came out 25 years previously.
Oh.
So now I'm changing my pick to another Paul Newman film, which I assume you haven't seen. We're going to be watching The Hustler.
The Hustler.
Next. next week, whenever we do this again. The Hustler, which apparently I wanted to do The Color of Money. Tom Cruise and Paul Newman with Scorsese at the helm, but it is a sequel to The Hustler with Paul Newman. So we gotta watch The Hustler.
Absolutely. This looks good.
Yeah. Jackie Gleason's in it.
Yes, and I like Paul Newman.
Yeah, I love his pasta sauces.
Right. And his salad dressings.
Yeah. All for charity.
It is. I love that.
I wonder if it's free on YouTube.
It might be.
Probably not. Unlikely. It is a little bit longer. Kind of. So I picked my movie for episode 99. And you're going to hate it.
Oh, good.
But we'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
You're only going to hate it for one reason. Maybe two reasons. Which would become obvious to you in a bit. But that's for another time.
Great.
Hustler. I believe it's in black and white.
It is. From what I saw.
Great. I wonder if you have the VHS.
Do not have it on VHS. No.
I mean, it's got to be somewhere. The Hustler. Maybe Prime? Unlikely.
Yeah, classic Prime. It lies to you on Google.
Doesn't matter. It's got good reviews. That's all we care about. Okay, well. Gummo.
Gun Love? What?
I just said Gummo.
Oh. Gummo. Yep. We've seen it. Now you can probably say you're the only person you know, besides me, that's seen Gummo. Can you imagine anyone in your life that's seen Gummo?
Didn't know it existed until a week from today. So,
right.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we wrap it, or do you want to do something?
We can do a short one today. We can do a short one.
You got stuff going on. Got to deal with your cats.
I do feel tremendously tired right now for some reason. So
the heat,
the warm heatness, the hotness, the new hotness, as they say.
Yeah, totally.
You got any vacations planned? Any little getaways?
Yeah, in 2 months I'm going to Prince Edward Island.
Really?
So we'll have to not podcast in 2 months from now.
What are you doing there? Just to see it, or
Megan's mom lives there. She
really
got
cool.
a new puppy, so it's
Megan's
not related
mom.
to the trip. Yeah, not related to the trip. We're going to go anyways, but now it's even better.
That's going to be cool. I have to I feel as though Prince Edward Island is going to be like the most different place you could go that's still in Canada. I just feel like the vibe's going to be so different there.
You don't think like none of it will be different?
Well, I said one of. So yes, probably Nunavut would be another one. But that would probably be very Greenlandic. That's my guess.
Icelandic. I know somebody who's in Iceland right now. Thought of you. And they're sharing pictures on Instagram of museums right now. So
right, Penis Museum.
I don't know, maybe.
Biological Museum, it's a thing. But it's a nice place. I do want to go back someday. I liked it there. Next time I go to Europe, I'll probably return there.
Do you have any summer trips plans?
At the end of this month, I'm going to California for three days, I guess.
Like the long weekend?
Or
before that?
When's the long weekend?
Like the 3rd of August.
Yeah, before that, the week before that.
Hmm.
I'm seeing a Premier League soccer game with my dad and my brother. Arsenal and Man United are playing.
In California?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yep. So we'll be going to that. I think on the Friday. We're flying out Thursday. Be there Thursday night or whatever. I think Friday we're going to go to Six Flags. I think is the plan. And then, yeah. Soccer game on Saturday. Return Sunday.
Sounds like a fun boys' trip.
It should be fun. They're really into soccer. Me, maybe not quite as much, but I do still enjoy it. So it should be a fun trip for all of us.
You're more into the Six Flags.
I think the Six Flags will be fun. I mean, I imagine it's going to be quite busy. But beyond that, I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. If we go early enough.
Don't tell anybody, but I listened to the whole England-Netherlands game while delivering mail today.
You listened to it.
Yeah. So like there's I have my phone, which has the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get like a radio feed. And I have that go to my AirPods. Just have one AirPod, so just in case some old man is like, "Good morning, sir," I can be like, "Good morning." I listened to a British man talk to me for 90 minutes.
All I heard about that game was that England won, and apparently they didn't deserve to win. But they won anyway, so.
I would say that they did not deserve to win. I would say that it deserved to go to extra time. They weren't like the better team, but they weren't the worst team.
Right.
Anyways, not important. They'll get what's coming to them against Spain in a few days.
Yeah, that 16-year-old is gonna whoop them.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
Okay, well, 16-year-olds. On that note, it's a good time to end the podcast.
Let's do that.
Okay.
I bid you all a fairly good nightness, and thanks for listening.
Okay, bye.